What is good afternoon, everyone? Good afternoon, everyone. So, welcome back to the Chicago Clubhouse Network. It is the guy that everyone loves to hate, the Crooked Commish. So, we are back at it. A special edition here. Like I said, we're normally not on in the afternoons here, but sometimes we have some members of the Clubhouse that can't come on the show when we go on normally. In the evenings on Tuesday, because life is life, y'all. And, sometimes work and the man kind of keeps us away from doing what we want to do. And, we kind of get in when we can. And it's the best way I can say it. So that's why we're here today. We're back with Coach Chef to talk about the latest news with the Bears. We just had the draft end on Saturday. Everyone was kind of shocked and pretty shocked to kind of, I think, see how far Sanders slid in the draft. But also looking at what the Bears did in the draft, I think some of us were a little surprised with some of the picks that they made as well, to say the least. So we'll get into that. Let's go ahead and get it kicked off. Everyone in the chats, thank you for joining us. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Please stay active in the chat, and we'll go ahead and try and jump in and answer your questions and being active with that as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this show started. So we're back at it again, guys. Thank you for sitting through the intro. So like I said, I was saying earlier and before the intro came on, the Bears, like I said, made a lot of different trades in this draft. Before the draft, there was a lot of speculation and talk about the Bears possibly moving up to try and get Gentry. Obviously, that did not happen. Guessing that the asking price was a bit too high for him. But the Bears did do some trading, and they ended up trading back quite a few times. Apparently, the only pick that they made that was of their own was the first pick at the 10th spot, where they, of course, drafted Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. Like I said, that was one of the bigger surprises there. Everyone had Tyler Warren as the number one tight end in the draft, but apparently on the Bears draft board, they thought that Loveland could fit a little bit better into their scheme. So it'll be interesting to see how he ends up working out and how Ben Johnson uses him. The comp on him is he's a poor man's version of Sam Laporta. So hopefully his shoulder injury that he had in college here that he was dealing with isn't something that lingers throughout the rest of his career, and he can kind of get over that quickly. So yes, Lee, this is a different setup for sure. My wife is using the main setup, the main office, working from home and stuff. So I had to kind of improvise and call an audible here. So that's why the setup's a little bit different. We're out here on the patio using the natural light, instead of artificial light, I guess you can call it. So. All right, so with that rambling done, let me go ahead and bring in my co-host for the day. We may get another Clubhouse member in here. If he can join us, we'll bring him in here. If not, we'll have to catch him another day. But a guy that you guys are familiar with, and if you're new, you may have not seen him, but he's been a Clubhouse member for quite a while now. And he is also someone that is very familiar with football. Played some college, not college, I believe some D1 football and whatnot. So he's somewhat familiar with the game and understanding of the X's and the O's. So Without further ado, let me go ahead and get my boy in here, Coach Chef.
Yo, you got a new setup? I kind of got a new setup. I mean, the bar is still here, but I have a bookshelf now.
You've been doing some reading. Yeah, knowledge.
Reading. Yo, what's up? How's everybody doing? Long time no see. Haven't seen anyone, no one has seen me since week 17 when the Bears beat the Packers pregame. Like Crooked Commish said, life be life, and for me, I'm free today because I'm off on Mondays. So, so there we go. Small edit, just because I really don't like taking credit for things that I have not accomplished. I did not play Division I football. I played Division II football.
Gotcha. I know it's some sort of division.
I don't want nobody trying to Google me and be like, "Oh, that guy didn't even play." Like, nah, you Google me, you'd be surprised what you see, but you won't see nothing Division I. But I did spend 3 years playing Division II football back. It'll be, oh Lord, 2025 is like 27 years ago. Oh Lord,
I'm sure you 40, still got it.
You know what? I do play in I played in a rec co-ed flag league right now. So I put it on the youngsters every Monday. Every Monday I put it out. I'm out there with my creaking old bones and muscles, and I put it on some youngsters. Right. So plus I don't exactly look 40. So
Yeah, you don't got those gray facial hairs yet. Not too many of them.
I don't have facial hair to begin with. Like, shit, man, this is it. This is it, people. Sorry, genetics. I don't know. Maybe it's the indigenous in me. I don't know, but this is all I've been working with since I've been born.
To be fair, though, Chef, another guy that doesn't have much facial hair is one of the newest members on our team, the first-round pick, Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan. So let's go ahead and get into it. Tell us your thoughts on that. Yeah, no, I mean, hey, I know he doesn't have the same excuse that you do. He's got actual.
He's from Idaho. He has hair. He has facial hair. He's from Idaho. That guy works.
What are your thoughts on the Bears picking Loveland at the 10th spot instead of Tyler Warren, who damn near everyone else in the draft thought that he was the number one tight end and should be going first? So what are your thoughts on that, on what they did?
Well, let's see. So this is what we've been hearing a lot in the draft, especially after the whole Shedeur debacle, is just because prognosticators and other people, whether it be the media who puts out the books every year that we all buy, or I know I buy them, or the different outlets online. Like, you can go online right now and everyone's got a podcast, including us, and got, ex-players, ex-scouts, old school draftniks. That's what they used to call people like Mel Kiper back in the 70s, just guys who were just nerds about finding out about people. I mean, Mel Kiper's the godfather of this whole, draft books and all this other stuff. We just had to, either watch college football.
He's the reason why Todd McShay has a job and stuff like that. He's
the reason why all of us are in this space. If you do anything about the draft, Mel Kiper is the reason. But late in the process, I had been hearing different YouTube videos and different media sources that Loveland was a top prospect. And I'm from Big Ten country, so I've seen both guys play. I've seen Loveland. I've seen the young man out of Penn State, Warren. Warren looked amazing. I mean, if you watch the highlights, man, the dude plays everywhere. Like, they showed his snap count. He played slot. He played wide. He played tight. He played center for
Wildcat.
Right, played Wildcat. He was a quarterback. I mean, go YouTube his basketball highlights from college. Like this, from high school. This kid is an amazing athlete. But typically, all of these guys are. But with Loveland, after reviewing it and having a night to sleep on it, I thought that you were drafting a very similar type of guy that you already have a commit. I even had to go back to 5 years ago. I had to watch some pre-draft and post-draft of the Bears drafting Cole Kmet. And I stand corrected. They're not the same guy. They're not similar in their abilities. One is a tremendous athlete, as everyone has said. One is a certified, I think with the COVID years when Kmet came out, he was still a top 3 tight end, but he wasn't known for his great athletics, especially not run after catch. He was known for being tough, a big body, two-sport athlete, all that stuff. With Loveland, I've come around. I've actually given that pick a B. I've come around to the reality that what everyone said is starting to become true to me, that this draft was not top heavy, which means that the elite blue chip 5-star type of guys were not available and teams were not glamoring to trade. I think there were only like 2 trades in the first round, 2 or 3, which is really not a lot. So if you were looking to trade up, or I've heard through different sources that you were getting 70 cents on the dollar for trading up because the draft at the top was not as predominant. This was supposed to be a very deep draft in the mid rounds or whatnot. So just some notes I've made up. My Tasmanian devil's awake. Oh, I'm screaming. Hey, buddy. Let me know.
Too soon.
So just some notes from the different guys on the 2 major networks about Loveland. We had Kuiper say he can stretch the middle of the field. He's great run after catch. Booger McFarland said he's a 3-level threat. Plays like a big wide receiver or a joker. A joker is another tag that we use in football for a tight end that can be used as a flex. And he's not exactly an H-back, but it's kind of an H-back is more of a guy who can be moved around, but is lighter, but plays like kind of a small fullback, but is really was made famous by Joe Gibbs and the Redskins back in the 80s because they needed a double tight end to block. Oh Lord, the rush linebacker from the Giants in the 80s, Lawrence Taylor, excuse me, LT. Okay. So the wide tight end or that tight end was created. Then the joker is another form of a tight end that can be moved, is flexible, that's athletic. People say Laporta, that's what we've been here to comp to. I know a comp that I saw from Charles Davis on the NFL Network was Tyler Eifert when he prior to injuries. Yeah. But Eifert, those who remember, was a very athletic, rangy tight end, could stretch the middle of the field, could have run after catch, could go vertical. But everyone pretty much is saying the same thing. Like I said, a move tight end. Louis Riddick said fast release should maul smaller defenders in the run game. As we know, the Lions last year under Ben Johnson ran the most 12 personnel. 12 personnel, what does that mean? 12 personnel. Your first number is your backs. Your second number is your tight ends. 12. That means that they ran the most 2 tight end formations of any team in the NFL. So if you're looking for that traditional and that flex joker type athletic tight end, the Bears got it now. So you have Commish, who's your more traditional tight end, who's going to block and play probably 70%, 75 to 80% of the snap. In fact, if you look at the snap count last year, I think Commish was on the field 80+% of all snaps. I mean, if you look, there were no other useful tight ends in the run and pass game. In fact, it prevented him from running a lot more routes because he stayed in to block. I mean, Caleb Williams was sacked 68 times. So you get a more athletic tight end who you can split out more often. Louis Ray, DJ, the guy from NFL Network said he's a smooth mover, rangy, athletic. His comp was Mark Andrews' clone for the Ravens.
I like that.
Create separation in his great runs to catch. Pretty much everyone is saying the same thing. Even Joe Klatt chimed in with a create space. So everything we're hearing is this guy is an athlete at the tight end position. 6'5", 248 pounds. And if those who can hear that, I'm going to have you take it over because I have to mentor my 2-year-old Tasmanian devil for a second because it sounds like, hey, buddy, come downstairs. But I amended the pick from probably a C+. And also I want to remind people that maybe the Bears couldn't trade up or they couldn't trade up. If they, to make trades, people say, well, they should have traded. They should have. You could only make a trade with a team that wants to make a trade with you. And if you don't have value that they want and they don't have value that you want, guess what's going to happen? There's not going to be a trade being made.
Well, not only that, but look at what Jacksonville gave up to move up with the Browns. And then like that's a little comparable thing. Like would you, as a Bears fan, asking you if you wanted them to trade up, would you be comfortable with them giving up similar capital to what Jacksonville did to move up 3 spots? You know, and here the Bears would be trying to move up from 10 to 5 or 4 or something like that. So
I'm
It's
not
kind
gonna
of
lie.
like
I'm
this.
proud baby. I didn't trade up for Genty. I was super anti them trading up for a running back. You can find a running back at any point of this draft, I believe. So I was against it. I did come around to his ability, but I just didn't come around to the Bears trading for him.
No, and neither was I. I thought we still had too many holes that we need to fill, in our roster. I wanted to get more depth with those later picks and whatnot, and we kind of did that with the offensive linemen and with Ozzie and Luke Newman. But what I was surprised about for sure, and I don't know, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, is we were talking about running backs and how deep that running back class was. I was surprised that the Bears waited all the way into the 7th round before they finally actually took a flyer on a running back out of Rutgers there. So
Yeah.
were you surprised on that as well? Were you expecting to get one, trying to get one in the 5th or 4th round? Or, any thoughts on what they did there at running back?
I just think that the board falls as it falls, and they pretty much, the only pick they kept out of all of their original picks was the 10th pick. So you're trading around and you're finding value. So every team has their value, and you can't make a value for a team of what you think. Because people were in different groups that I was reading saying, oh, we need a back, we need a back. People forget that running backs are found all over the NFL at a various range. There's going to be some UDFA who's going to put up 1,000 yards in this next coming up year, probably, or the year after that, or whatever.
Right.
So you're going to find talent at the running back position. Unfortunately, regardless of what Saquon Barkley and the Eagles did, Saquon Barkley, I think, is the only running back in the past 20, 25 years who's led the league in rushing and won a Super Bowl the exact same year. So you can find a guy. Shoot, the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl with a running back from the 7th round.
Pacheco.
And the kid from Rutgers. So
Pacheco.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, sit down, buddy.
So
they got a back. They got a type of back that everyone wanted them to get. Everyone said, oh, you need a bruiser. You need a bruiser. You need a big back. So they got a guy. So now everyone can chill. I was actually more of a I don't even think they needed a super comp back. I think they just needed another back. Like I don't agree. I mean, I partially agree with the idea that you need two types of backs. You need your quote unquote bruiser, your thunder, your big back, and then you need your slasher, your lightning, blah 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 blah. You need multiple backs in general. I don't care if they're similar in speed. I mean, we have a big back, short yardage per se now, and Johnson, who people were so excited to draft, but he's kind of been injured lately. Plus, he hasn't shown the speed to break big runs, and he hasn't put up great numbers in his first 2 years. So the Bears nation is hungry for another big back. This young man seems to be the type of back people wanted. I thought that Ali Gordon from Oklahoma State would have been someone they could have gotten, but maybe for them, like we say, maybe he wasn't on their board. So sure. Manunga. Yeah. But yeah, so with the first pick, tight end, you get a guy that is needed. You needed a tight end. You needed a second tight end. Maybe you don't like the value, but maybe your value as a person who look, I would love to spend my days watching college film for 10, 12 hours a day and be the Chicago Clubhouse Network's draft geek guy.
That's a retirement job.
But I don't. And none of us have the time nor the energy to do that. So we have to watch other people, and then we have to do our own assessment. We get into arguments in our group chat all the time about who's better. But it's always the guys that we know. No, none of us know the guys that no one knows. Like, I hate people who watch the draft, and then if you watch the draft, if they're not a primetime guy, they'll have a draft, and people will listen, and then they'll hear their name, and they'll be like, and this will always a 2-second pause, and then they go back to cheering. And what's the other blah 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 pick? They pick Shaman Montgomery the third McNichols Michaels. Yay! Like
he's a bear, whatever.
Right, exactly. So once you leave the first, second round, unless you're big into a certain conference, you're not going to know these guys. I mean, I'm a Big Ten guy. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Chicago. Illinois is my favorite team. So I know a lot of Big Ten names, but I don't know a lot of them only because I work on Saturdays. So I don't get to catch all the Big Ten games. I usually catch the highlights, Big Ten Network, after I get on from work. But I don't get to watch every single game. So a couple of the picks we'll talk about I hadn't heard of, but I don't have the time. I don't watch football on Saturdays like I used to in my 20s. I mean, in my 20s, I played college football. You know, you get the downloaded rosters on your PS2 or your PS3. Plus, you watching because you don't have nothing to do on Saturdays because you're in your 20s. I knew all the guys in the. There wasn't a guy I didn't kind of know. I even knew the one AA guys. But now, come on, man, we're old family men. We can't keep up with everything. Plus, we're not paid to do that. I know. With the second pick, they take a guy who I did see play, and I watched a lot of his highlights, and I saw him in a lot of late game magic. A guy who dropped down the board, who was preseason, was projected to be a first round pick, and the kid.
I think he had a better season last season than he did this past season.
Yeah, he did. He had a lot of context. He had a lot of quarterback issues. Their quarterback was either hurt or injured. None of the numbers offensively for Missouri looked good this year.
Right.
Yeah, but
so
okay.
I'm happy you brought him up there, and now it kind of like our offense there. Caleb has a lot of options there, and it's be interesting to see, you know, between DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. Now we got the rookie Luther Burden coming in, the other rookie Loveland, and then you still got Cole Kmet, and then of course the running back always catches a pass or two. You got Swift in the backfield that's going to catch a pass or two. It's like he's definitely set up, has a lot of offensive pieces around him. So
there are no excuses.
No, absolutely no excuses. But just a little twist on it, fantasy-wise, which one of those players, fantasy-wise, is the most intriguing to you out of all those options between, you know, DJ and, you know, Swift, Dunze, you know?
I'm going to go with the guys who are the vets. I'm going to go with DJ. I'm going to go with Dunze. I mean, he's a second-year guy, but he's had time. He's put up 700 yards as a third receiver. No matter what the people say, he's not a bust. People were saying he's a bust when he was the bona fide third receiver for two guys who were known in the league. He put up 700 yards, which means that if he was the number two, he clearly could have put up 3 more 100 yards if he got more targets. If you look at the target share,
Fair.
So that's a 1,000-yard receiver. So you go with those names. People are going to say Loveland, but it just depends on how they use him. Going back to what Ben Johnson said, he said, we're going to mold this offense to the talent we have. I think I've even heard people in the Bear Sphere online say, oh, we might be able to move Kmet. Why? Why are we getting rid of talent? Who does that?
They should stop because the Bears are already saying that now. Like, they're not interested in moving him at all this season. They're looking to add all of that together. He's part of the ingredient in a bigger pot that's going on.
Right. If you move to that, then you have a rookie, and then you got a bunch of nobodies.
Right. Then you got to go get
the backup tight ends. Right, but not right now for the Bears. Very few of us can. But I will say about the kid Luther Burden III. I've watched him play. His numbers were down, but I know when I watched late game Missouri stuff, and they're in the SEC, and they are in the Midwest. No matter what people say, saying Missouri is considered the Midwest. The kid is outstanding with the ball in his hands. Once again, just 6 feet, 200 pounds, ran a 4.41 Kuiper, game breaker, strong hands. Booger McFarland, yards after catch. Riddick owns the middle of the field, lightning in a bottle. DJ from the NFL Network, loose athlete, dynamic yards after catch. DJ Moore clone, vertical speed. Charles from the network, from the NFL Network. He compared him. His comp was Jaden Reed from the Packers. Makes people miss. Once again, what have we heard about the first two picks? The first two picks, all the notes we're hearing about these people they are great, outstanding after the ball is in their hands. And that's what the Bears have been missing. I mean, other than DJ and occasionally when Lord, our running back breaks out, we need run after the catch. That's how you get it. You can't throw the ball deep all the time. You got to depend on your athletes to make plays. So
So do you?
Luther Burton is another guy you add. It's going to be a great competition at receiver. All these guys, Duvernay, and all these guys we signed. It's going to be competition, and that's what sports is about. That's what the NFL is about: competition.
Yeah, you also brought in the receiver from Washington, Zomekis, as well.
Yeah, brought him
So
in another
that wide
slot
receiver
guy.
room is going to be really full.
Tyler Scott's got speed, but hey, the pressure's on him this year.
Yes. Now, speaking of, you mentioned Rome's numbers, what he did his rookie season. Can you see Luther putting up similar numbers, or do you think his numbers will be a little bit lower than compared to what Rome did his rookie year of the 700,
I think
5 touchdowns?
it'll be different if it depends on the development, because now look, we have a legit tight end number 2. Now, of course, tight ends are fickle. I'm not big on first round tight ends because I think tight ends take a little longer to develop. If you look at the great tight ends nowadays, very few of them hit immediately. The speed of the game, the physicality of the game, and you say that for every position, but tight end's different. I'm not expecting Ben Johnson to only split Loveland out only. Like, he's got to be an inline blocker. He's got to contribute. He's got to protect the quarterback. So I haven't delved deep into that. 700 yards from your third receiver again would be great, but look who you've got now. You've got a legit 1, 2. You've got competition at the 3 and 4. So maybe because last year you had a legit 3. Rome was the legit 3, and then 4 was kind of like, we'll dabble in this, we'll dabble in this. You have a legit 2. Now you have competition for 3 and 4, which should either bring up the competition, but it might lower the number if you have multiple guys who are reliable depending on formation.
Gotcha.
You have 2 tight ends. You actually have 3 because you got the guy from the Dolphins who's a great blocker and probably a check down guy. Maybe play a little fullback, a little H, move around, whatever. So can I see Burton with 700 yards? I would have to wait until training camp. See some preseason games, see how he's adjusting, how they use him. Of course, whatever they do to him in the preseason will probably be real basic. But you got to see how these guys produce when the lights come on, when they're getting to practice, how they're adjusting to the NFL, and then from there, then you can kind of do more prognosticating about what you think they're going to produce. But I think it's a great pick. I think it's a development pick. I think that even people, you hear now, when DJ moves on in a couple years, Burton could be that guy. You don't know. Yes, they're similar in build. They're similar in height. They're still similar in their playability. But how about we just focus on the right here, right now? We've got talent. We've got a line. We've got depth at all these positions. Let's see what we got before we start talking about replacing people in 3 years, something none of us have control over.
All right. I mean, fair point. Let's switch it up a bit. You kind of talked about the line, and like I said, they did a little bit to address that later on in the draft, but the majority of where they addressed the line was in the offseason. So on the offseason, they traded for Jonah Jackson from the Rams. Right. They also made another trade for Joe Thuney, I believe, if I'm saying that wrong, from Kansas City.
Yeah, the all-pro from Kansas City.
Correct. Now he's getting a little long in the tooth. He's at 32 years old. He's on the last year of his contract, but sometimes that doesn't matter. And then the last offseason move, this free agent signing, the big one they did was the center out of Atlanta, Drew Dahlman. So do you think that they did enough in the offseason to address the trenches on the off, and then also even on the other side, that they signed a defensive tackle from Atlanta, Grady Jarrett. With the offseason moves, do you think they did enough to address the trenches on both sides of the ball?
I do, and people are now concerned about our left tackle position. We need a left tackle. You have a left tackle. I want to remind people that there are 32 teams in the NFL, which means there are 64 starting tackles, a right tackle and a left tackle. And since our current left tackle did have a devastating leg injury, he's proven to be, at best, a solid average tackle. Unfortunately, people think that you're going to have all pros at every position. That's not true. I love our man JB, but he's critical. You're supposed to be critical of your team. But look, teams that win Super Bowls, they don't have all pros at all 22 positions. Did the Eagles have an all pro left tackle? No. Did they win the Super Bowl? Yes. They had a better line, but they didn't have all pros everywhere. They do have you're supposed to have an abundance of talent, but I think that our current left tackle is fine, and there'll be competition. You got Amagaji, who you drafted last year, who's fully healthy, who's got a full year of training and working out with pro coaches and just focusing on his craft. You got you got a rotation of guys who are in now. So time will tell. I still think that we have the potential to have a top 10 line, potentially even better depending on health, but we haven't been healthy as an offensive line in several years. I mean, I think we had more turnover game to game than most any other team in the NFL. So people football's a war of attrition, and you got to have
the bodies.
Yeah. You got to have the bodies, and you have to have consistency with the offensive line. Yeah. If we get that, I think that we're in for a rude awakening. I think the NFL's in a rude awakening about how productive this offense can be. But with health comes production. You can't have one without the other. You saw what happened to the Lions in the playoffs and the end of the season. What did they have? Like, they literally were just bringing out. I'm not gonna call them bums because that's too drastic. I mean, I'm not out there and I'm a bum and I've never played professional football in my life. Neither has most of us. Yeah, that Tiger.
You say elite talent. Elite talent?
Yeah, they didn't have any DBs. The Lions, like, they allowed so many points the second half of the year, and in the playoff game they couldn't stop anybody. But why? Because they didn't have starting. They literally were rolling out their third, fourth, fifth practice squad DBs. So you're not going to be successful.
It's one thing to say next man up, but they were saying next man, next man, next man, next man up.
Yeah, not just like, oh, we've got our number twos out there. No, they had some threes out there. They had some guys they just signed that week or the week before. So the consistency and the talent obviously was an issue. Then we pick up some guys. I mean, we get a guy in the second round, Ozzie Trapino, the kid from Boston College. Boston College, big kid, 6'8", 316, out of 770 college snaps, no penalties. Played both left and right tackle.
I love that. I love that. Playing both, being versatile, because we're going to need it.
We need versatility. I think you need a swing tackle guy who can adjust and play both in a moment's notice. I think he's projected more as a right tackle than people say, oh, then can we move Darnell Wright? Let's not be thinking about moving people. Darnell Wright is our right tackle.
Right.
Okay. When we don't have a left tackle, then I'm pretty sure they'll have a plan for a left tackle. But I think this kid will come in. Booger McFarland said he's light on his feet, able to move, heavy hands. For those who don't know, heavy hands just means that when you're doing your punch or you got a hold of someone, that you don't let them go. You know, they're not soft. He doesn't get his hand swatted down. He does have a bit, when you're that big, there is a tendency to be kind of upright because you're a taller guy in the football world. But out of 44 games he played in 4 years, he started 36. So he's a consistent guy. He developed well at Boston College. I
think it's like 24. So he's kind of
he only played 4 years, so maybe he redshirted a year. But he wasn't he's not like a 6-year senior, a super duper senior, or nothing like that. He played 4 years. Then possibly he redshirted his first year, which, you know, for people of our age, that was normal. It was normal for you to redshirt in college and then play 4 years and graduate and go to the NFL at 23. That was normal. But a lot of guys coming out early now. Then it's not becoming normal because with all the COVID guys, now guys are coming out and they're already 25, 26 years old. So, you know, they got
Velvet Jones.
One of them got Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel played at 3 different schools for 6 years. I'm not criticizing but if that's what happened, that's what happened.
Georgia Bennett too as well. Stetson Bennett.
Bennett just transferred, and he wasn't even a 2020 guy. He just transferred after playing 4 years because he knows he's not going to be starting at Georgia, so he's going to Miami to raise his draft stock. But the kid Ozzie, DJ said he's a huge. Obviously, at 6'8", you're huge. He thinks he can be a day one starter at right tackle. His comp was a tackle named Rob Havenstein. He said he's a little tight hipped, but when you're that big, sometimes you have a tendency of being that, a little tight hip. Tight hip means ability to be smooth in your hip, moving right to left versus pass rush. But he said he has good balance for his height, and he stays off the ground. And something that a football coach always told me in practice is, you be an athlete and stay on your feet. You can't be an athlete if you're always on the ground. And then Charles Davis said he's a guy who's been in the game for a long time, the kid, because his pops played in the NFL. So he's got a little bit of lineage there. He has experience. His dad played offensive line. So you got a kid who knows what is expected of him as a pro athlete. So bodes well. Love to see him in camp. Definitely, I would love to do a show after rookie mini camp. I want to we have some plans to bring some people on. I think we'll up that and come on hopefully some more Sundays if both of us are available. Mm-hmm. But I like the pick. Maybe you don't get super value. Some people saying, oh, he's picked a little early. Maybe that's the guy that they had in mind. Maybe they didn't. They already traded back. The 56 pick wasn't their original pick in the second round. Then they ended up with 3 second-rounders. So you got a first-round guy who was supposed to be a first-round guy. You got your second-round pick was another first-round guy who was taken in the second round, but he's a first-round talent. And then you got 2 more guys who were targeted for the second round. The next guy they took was a D tackle, a 3 technique out of Texas A&M, Sherman Turner. I think he's another guy who can bring some depth. I do want to say that I was doing some research on Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. Did you eat some fruit? Yeah. Did you eat some fruit? You want some watermelon? No. No, but you want some Cheetos? Yeah. I like the conviction kids have. Yeah. Do you want some fruit? No. You want some Cheetos? Yes. And they look at you like that too.
Very direct.
Would you like some fruits and vegetables? No. Would you like some candy and cake? Yes. Like children. You lucky daddy's on the show right now, because I would say no to you having Cheetos even though it's 1 o'clock. But the Texas A&M, they had a guy who was targeted for the first round, but his knock was he was a great athlete, great disruptor, but he didn't produce. I think the entire Texas A&M defensive line was subject to their scheme. We battled this with our draft picks who are on the team now, where people get drafted and then they'll be like, where's the production? Where's the production? I do believe that you need production in the NFL. In college, to prove that you can live up to, your height, weight expectation from college. But what I will say is, 1 second, let me find the guy I'm referring to. Oh crap, where'd he go?
Who are you talking about? The offense or defensive?
Defensive lineman we drafted a couple years ago. We drafted 2. So we got Zach Pickens. We got Zach Pickens, and we got oh Lord, what's his name?
Dexter.
Yeah, Dexter. So both of those guys, especially Dexter. Dexter was not as famous. His thing was he didn't produce, and he didn't show explosion, and he stood up a lot. And then you learn that in the defense he ran, he was supposed to read and react. They weren't asking him to, hey, just go get the quarterback, split the double team, do this. They were saying, hey, we want you not to stand up, although that's what it looks like, but we want you to survey the land in your rushing ability, whether it's pass rush or run responsibility. Right. And I think that Texas A&M had that issue this year with all of their defensive linemen. Now, I think their big stud defensive end just had the issue with finishing plays, but I think what happened is the trickle-down effect for the rest of their defensive line. They had 2 guys go in the first round from Texas A&M, and then you have this guy who was part of that line. So the entire Texas A&M line, I think, was drafted this year. They had 2 first-round picks, and then we get the young man, Sherman Turner, who played D tackle. I think their responsibilities were not your traditional, hey, we need you to attack, and we need you to do this. He played defensive end early in his career, so his production is different. Let's see. Booger McFarland said he uses his hands well. Right now, he's a better run stopper than a pass rusher. He has the ability to disengage, which means he's great with his hands. The ability for defensive linemen and offensive linemen to keep their hands up and keep that extension that you can see me. Keep that extension to keep guys off you, because once you get guys in here, people can move you wherever they want to move you. But if I'm a defensive lineman or any position, if you're engaged with a guy, if I can keep my arms extended and I can move guys out the way and I can control them and turn their bodies so for a defensive lineman so my linebackers can get tackles, that's great. That's great use. And then you can be taught other skills, because that's what the NFL is about. The NFL is about coaches coaching guys to be better players. Everyone can't just walk on the field and be amazing. Louis Riddick said he gets a little high with his pads. DJ said he's an explosive 3 technique. He has a great shake and bull power, which means he has the strength to engage and push back. And he played through injuries. They said that he played through an injury that no one knew until he got to the scouting combine. So you're talking about a kid who wasn't even healthy during his college football season. So for those who look at his stats to be like, oh, for D tackle, I also want to remind people that there's 130 some odd Division I football teams. You know, every team doesn't have a 10 sack guy, right? People know that about college. I know, even though they pass the ball with all these screens and RPOs, there's not like a plethora of guys in college who just have double-digit sacks. Even like the best prospects only end up with like 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, of course, your premier guys are going to have some more. The young man from Marshall, the kid who was the third pick out of Penn State, but 6, 7 sacks, 5, 3, 4 from a D tackle. That's pretty good in college.
Pros can work with that.
Exactly. And with these attributes that he's shown, I think he'll compete with Zach Pickens. It'd be great to see what their plan is for Zach Pickens. Are they going to move him to the nose? Are they going to move Dexter to the nose? Seems like we have a lot of guys who play kind of a 3 technique, but we don't have any noses besides. Oh my goodness, he was out with injury the second half of the year.
Billings.
Billings was out. Yeah, he was our true nose. So we only really had one nose, and then you can see how the defense. I believe the defense suffered, especially in the run game, the second half of the season.
1,000%.
You don't have a guy taking up that space. And just because the guy's 290 or 305 doesn't mean that guy can be a nose tackle. Typically, even in today's football, your nose tackles are bigger. They're on the other side of 300. They're wider guys. Your old school, it's almost like your old school Ted Washington type stuff. What's going on, Neon? Peacock.
Keep Tractor Trailer. Peacock. Yeah, Neon is from one of the other fantasy shows that I tune into, the Heart to Start and the Gen Wealth Network and stuff. So thank you for
what's up?
Checking us out.
Yeah, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. So that's in the first 2 rounds. Now those 4 guys. So now you get literally every guy you drafted in your first 4 picks. They're all talented within the realm of where they were drafted. You might have reached for a guy here or there. I mean, I don't think no one agreed that you reached for anyone until you got to the 4th round pick, because the Bears didn't have a 3rd. But guys were taking. Yeah, the guys were taking kind of where they were slotted, just in different spots. This is not a science, man. We say that every year. I love how us as fans and people in the media, because I mean, essentially we're in the media because we have a platform, is we have an idea of what we like and what we want, but we're not making no decisions. And it's amazing how I'm even guilty of it. You only rave about the things you're right about. Who's out here admitting to your wrong ideas? Like, for every guy who was like, oh, Valus was a bad pick, you should have took George Pickens. George Pickens has showed a lot of potential, but has George Pickens been blowing the doors off the NFL? No, he's had some issues. We know the Bears and Poles don't like guys who've had off the field issues and character issues.
Why did they
not only like maturity issues? So I think that people only talk about the players that they only remember the players that they were right about. I've been following the NFL draft since like 97, 98 as a middle school kid, watching the whole draft like a big football nerd. But I've been right about some guys. I've been wrong. I was wrong about Jimmy Clausen. I was wrong about Cam Newton.
Mel Kiper was wrong about Jimmy Clausen as well. So you ain't the only one.
You're right. I was wrong about Cam, and people gonna say, "How were you wrong about Cam?" I thought it would take Cam a little longer to develop because if you go watch his last year at Auburn, that offense was the most remedial offense for college football that won a national championship. Like it looked like old school Nebraska, but out of shotgun. Like he threw the ball. He had a great arm, but he wasn't like he was reading the field. People forget he won Rookie of the Year throwing for 4,000 yards. He never threw for 4,000 yards again in his career in any season.
Right. Yeah, his rookie season was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I was wrong about him. All of us were wrong about Trent Richardson. We thought he was the most amazing specimen to play running back when he came out, and he was out of the league in 4 years. But no one talks about that. They always talk about the guy who they want, like, gotta get Cam Scottable. Gotta get Cam Scottable. Look, I'm not wishing the young man to fail. I've actually watched the young man in person, living here in Arizona now, and went to Arizona State game with my children and my family. The kid is tough. The kid is hard nosed. The kid is great after contact. But people are not going to be clamoring for Cam Scottable if he's out of the league and playing in the UFL in 3 years. You're going to forget that they raved about him. You go check if you go to Bears chat, Bears Now by Chat Sports, if you go to every Bears video, people are saying, "Oh, we need a back. We got to get Cam in the third, fourth round." Bro, we don't have him. And if he ends up being a good solid back for the Giants, that's all you'll hear. We should have got Cam. We should have got Cam. If he's out of the league in 2 years, no one's going to admit that they were wrong. They're going to act like he never fucking existed.
Nobody's got time for that. Everyone's off to their next hot take. So,
and we live in a world where
Cam really, like, I just don't think he had a big enough body to withstand the NFL. Great college player, but being at 220, the speed for sure. Did not have the speed for it as well, but like I said, I just wasn't sure how long he was going to be able to hit. If he could take the same hits, the NFL hits, with his smaller frame and stuff. But
I mean, I think he's a tough kid. I think that he'll bring value. I think he's a kid who people are going to be shocked. He might end up playing a whole lot of special teams, and I don't mean kickoff and punt return. I mean blocking and tackling, and that might be how he gets on the field. And he might surprise some people. If he ends up with a 700-800 yard season, great for him. But I'm not going to down the kid. See, this is what I want to bring up a name. So 3 years ago, Jack Sanborn was signed at the UDFA.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we were doing a show, me and you weren't, but we were doing a show about offseason moves. And I thought that was an outstanding pickup by Jack for the Bears by getting a kid like Jack Sanborn. He's a Midwest kid. He played at Wisconsin. Linebacker, was all conference. Wasn't a great athlete, but just, knew where to be and was always around the ball and could hit and could do all these things. He had some liabilities athletically and in the pass game. Come on, what are you doing, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if anyone's watched the show the past 2 years, I've had a lot of Jack Sanborn slander. And my slander isn't about Jack Sanborn as a person or a player. My slander comes from fans who overvalue Jack Sanborn because Jack Sanborn reminds them of who they think they were, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He looks like them.
Number 54.
52. He's a hard worker. Yeah, he's our middle line. Look. I thought Jack was great. I think that he'll go on in the league and he'll be a solid linebacker. Jack Sanborn is never going to make an all-pro. He's never going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to be a nice linebacker who has liabilities that can't be on the field 90 snaps a game because that's just what it is. Before Jack Sanborn, you know who we had? We had a kid named Nick Klazowski. Came out of Western Virginia. And he was another one of those late. He was a late draft pick for the Bears, and the Bears used him. And he was tough, but he was a liability a little bit in first pass, and he didn't have extreme athleticism. The Bears let him go after his contract was up, and he signed with the Raiders, and he had like 100 tackle season. But guess what? He had 100 tackles, but no one talked about him ever again because guess what? He was a blip. He was just another guy in the NFL out there making plays. Not saying that he's out of the league. He's still in the league, but people was like, "Oh, we let this guy go. He's the next Urlacher. He's the next this." They only compare people of the same ethnicity to people of that same ethnicity. They never compare them to anyone else based on actual playing ability. Every white wide receiver is Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman is an amazing athlete. People forget this. So if you're sub 6 feet and you play in the slot, who they compare you to? Julian Edelman.
Well, just like every white player, Jason Sehorn.
There was a time where every white receiver who was over 6'1", they were either Ed McCaffrey or they were Joe Jaravish.
Okay. Yeah.
Your comparison should be based off of their ability, not their ethnicity or their complexion. Right. I think that Julian Edelman is more of a clone of every other slot receiver who's ever played in the NFL, regardless of ethnicity. And a guy like Ladd McConkey, he's his own person. He's not the same guy. He's a different guy. He's a different running style, different build, different skill set. I mean, they're all receivers, but they're different. So we just can't compare all. Every power back is a Larry Zonka. He's a Mike Allstott. Christian McCaffrey came out. Who they compare him to?
I forget.
Exactly, because they couldn't compare him to those who were not smart enough couldn't compare him to nobody because he was a different type of back. So they compared him to who he should have been compared to, more of an LT type of guy, because that's what he plays like, all-purpose back.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's fair. So we're getting down to the end of the show here. I wanted to ask you a question here before you get to any other of your comments there. Real quick, fantasy-wise, within our division here, who do you think will be the better fantasy QB between Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, JJ McCarthy, and Jared Goff?
I want to go Jared Goff. He's a veteran. He's a veteran. He'll have a new offensive coordinator, but he's a vet. And he has
all veterans too, technically.
Huh?
They're all veterans technically.
But he's been the same team.
Kind of make the argument that it's his rookie season because
he's not a vet. I mean, he's got the talent guys. But you talking about fantasy? I would take Jared Goff because he's got the arm, he's got all the weapons, he's still got a line, he's still got the same coaching staff as far as the head coach. So I'm going to go with that guy. I probably would go Goff 1 if I was doing my draft setting. A fantasy draft for quarterbacks. I would have Goff first. I probably would have. Oh man! Right now, I'm leaning toward Caleb over Love. Caleb runs a little more.
Yeah.
Love's a bigger, stronger quarterback. But
what offensive system do you trust more, or do you think is going to be more productive? I guess is where you kind of come down to it.
I think Caleb has more weapons. I think from top to bottom, Caleb will have more weapons than Love does. Love's got some good receivers, but they battle. He doesn't have any standout guys who are the bona fide 1, 2, and 3. He's got a bunch of guys who, because of health and other reasons, can't. He doesn't have a bona fide 1,000-yard receiver. He doesn't have a bona fide number 2 who's going to get you 700, 800 guaranteed. He has some guys who have talent, and he evenly disperses the ball. And then the running back game is something else. I believe in his coaching staff more just because they've been there longer than the Bears staff who just got here. So I might take Love over Caleb, but it might be a slight ranking. So I would go Goff 1, Love slightly above Caleb, maybe tie, and then McCarthy 4, whoever the Viking quarterback. Do want to run through the last of these picks real fast. The Ruben Hippolyte kid out of Maryland. He's a small, stout linebacker. He's really, his claim to fame is that he's a former 5-star recruit from Maryland. He may have not lived up to the production part of it, but he did run a 4.4 at his pro day, so that's the note on him. It looks like he has rocket launchers attached to his cleats, fires out. He's a cannon. He has legit speed, so you got a guy who can run. We need to up the athleticism. What you thinking about Kyler Gordon?
The extension. You agree with the extension? I
Of
guess.
course, the extension you had to keep him. You got to keep a guy, and then you got to talk about the coaching staff raving about him. If you're DC and your secondary coach raving about him, and your GM's talking about we're going to get an extension done, I mean, yeah, we need the Bears have a secondary that can compete for being one of the top.
Congratulations, Fish. Your nephew.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Well,
thanks for checking us out, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you checking this out. I think Kyler is an outstanding. I think I would like to see him on the field more. I think that with the rumors about him playing a little safety and a little bit outside corner, I think him being on the field more will lead to more things. He's always around the ball. I personally think that I wish he was a little more sure-handed. There was a couple of picks that we could have had last year that we didn't get. But he's an amazing athlete. I would love to see him make more plays so I could see more of him being an amazing athlete and doing backflips and doing the Spider-Man. Hey,
I want to see him do an interception and then do a backflip into the end zone as he's scoring there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see him be the best athlete he can be while being a part of the Bears. But back to the Hepalite kid, played sideline to sideline. He consistently was productive in college. Everyone talks about his speed. So can you harness that speed and be productive? Right now, being the competition for inside linebacker is a tight one. I mean, you have who you have there, and then we're still waiting on the Sewell kid, not Penei Sewell's brother. We're waiting on the Sewell kid. Hepalite to give him some competition along with other linebackers, but hey, he might be a great guy for special teams. He was taking a 4th round pick, 132. Then we got the Zay Frazier kid out of University of Texas at San Antonio, Roadrunners. Hey, I like this kid. I don't think we needed another corner, but you can't help with the competition, and maybe he might be an option at safety.
If anyone's interested, if anyone's interested in seeing his 40 speed, he had the 5th fastest for corners. I have it posted on TikTok on my page. So if you guys want to check out his 40-yard dash, it's on my TikTok.
He ran a 4.36. He set a record at UTSA with 6 interceptions. He has a single season record. He was a JUCO All-American, went to Coffeyville in Kansas. For those who know, Kansas JUCO is one of the best JUCOs in the country. I would say it's the best JUCO in the country consistently for production for Division I talent. He was taken 5th round pick 169. He'll get more competition. He has the length that you need and physicality and athleticism, obviously. And then we took Luke Newman from Michigan State. We got another guy who could play some interior, guy who actually was a transfer. He actually started at, did you say Colgate, I think? Was it Colgate? He started in the Ivy League, essentially. He was a tackle and then transferred his last year. And he transferred and immediately was a starter at guard for Michigan State. So you get more guys who have range, who can play multiple positions. He's probably a guard, physical kid there. And then we got our running back in the 7th round, pick 233, Kyle Manunga, our big back. The comparison for him was poor man's Ashton Genty. I kind of heard, like, I'm making that up. That's not an extent, but he's got a similar build, short, stocky guy, doesn't have breakaway speed, but runs tough. You want a book? Here you go. Okay. I need you to move so nothing bad happens. Yeah, Parenthood.
Short bowling ball type of guy.
Yeah. So you got your running back guys, and then just to roll down some UDFAs that I got from the Bears website. No, I got from actually Fox 32 News through the Bears, I believe, of which I'm pretty sure they'll sign some more. You got a safety, Major Burns from LSU. You got a linebacker, Power Echols. That's his name, Power Echols from UNC. A wide receiver, PJ Richardson from TCU. A kicker for competition, Jonathan Kim out of Michigan State. Jade Walker, I believe is his name, a receiver from Texas A&M. A long snapper, Luke Oken from Iowa. Pass rusher, specialist, Xavier Carlton from Cal. Tyshim Johnson from Oregon. He's a safety. Another pass rusher, Cole Elson Cole Nelson from Virginia Tech. Gio Piazzi, a D lineman. I believe he plays more of an interior for LSU, and another pass rusher, Jeremy with an E, Jereme, Jeremy Robinson from Kansas.
So Trish, real quick, I believe she was. I know Mama Gordon is definitely a big fan of the show. The main guys at the clubhouse, like Frank the Tank and JB and T Nick, definitely have been interacting with her a lot more.
Yeah.
So we're just praying and hoping for the day that Kyler can get a little bit slot us in, get a little bit of time out of his day to kind of jump in the program and give us our thoughts one day. So, but
yeah, I was in Chicago when they met Mama Gordon. I wasn't able to come to the event that she was at when she met our crew from our Tuesday show, unfortunately because of work. For those who don't know, as the name says it, I am a professional cook. And as those know who's ever been out to eat, most people go out to eat on the weekend. So usually I don't have weekends off. Actually, I almost never have weekends off. Except for now I have Sunday, which to me is part work, pleasure, and horror. Okay. It's pleasure when they win, it's horror when they lose, and then I have to do a show, which is not work because I want to do it. So she's a dancing queen. Hey.
That's what we hear. That's what we hear.
Hey.
So
see, if I was around, I would say Mama Gordon need to hook up with some of the other Chicago people, and they need to teach us some Chicago stuff.
Get the Honey Bears back, be part of that Honey Bear group, so we need to bring back the Honey Bears.
Come on, man. Chill out.
But give us your final thoughts here so we can get it all wrapped up here.
So from top to bottom, we got what? 3, 6, 8 picks. A first round, 3 seconds, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. I will give the Bears draft. I hate doing grades because you just don't freaking know. Brisker back with I just pray that Brisker can stay healthy with those concussions. Those are no joke. As a person who's had a concussion, they are no joke. And I had my concussions playing high school, college ball, and flag football. So I wasn't getting paid. So you got to be careful with the brain. Come on, Kill. Come on, man.
Yeah, I agree. I love the way that Brisker plays. I love the violence that he plays with. I just hope his body can keep up with the style of violence that he likes to play with and stuff. So smart football player. And like I said, I like just praying to God he can stay healthy to play the majority of this season, unlike the last few seasons. So go ahead and finish your thoughts here so we can go.
Yeah, but thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm just saying that if you give a grade based on what you saw, I mean, it's hard to give a team an F. I think that all of the alleged needs the Bears. Okay, hey, don't start that. All the alleged needs that the Bears need based on other people. Like, everyone prognosticates about the needs the Bears have this year or before the draft. But we don't know what were their top needs. Did we know that tight end was going to be their number one need based on position? And then receiver and all these other positions. So based on the talent and what I've seen, I'm going to give it a B. It's hard to give them anything else. You probably don't get the guys that people clamor for, but hey, that's not how the world works, unfortunately. There's 31 other teams that have their own boards and glamour up the same people. We just got to hope that some of these guys hit more hit than miss. We can coach up some other guys, and then we always tend to get a couple of UDFAs who make a splash on the team and see how they look in camp and proceed and see if we can get into playoffs this year. So I feel positive. I feel positive after every draft because it's the future. I don't get people who are negative about drafts unless you just, you're taking players who, unless you're the coach and you take Trev Alberts in the first round, which was absurd back in the day. How can you not be positive? I mean, they're young players coming to your team. It's not their fault they got drafted. I don't like fans who boo picks. I mean, typically they're not booing the pick; they're booing the organization. But man, these kids are living dreams, man. I was explaining to my girlfriend. That's all I dreamed about as a kid. Literally, the moment that football became a thing for me, all I dreamed about is walking across the stage. And then it went from walking across the stage to just having my name called. Because at some point you kind of realize, hey, maybe I'm not a first round draft pick. but I would just love to see my name on the ticker on ESPN and then later on the NFL Network. Hey, Diop Muhammad out of wherever, whatever, wide receiver, going to whatever team. Like, that was a dream. I mean, I played Madden all my life and created my own player just to see a pseudo photo of me holding up a jersey. So these are a dream for all these kids. For the majority of them who truly love football, you can see the emotion when they're drafted, the tears and just all the work. Like, people remember. I hate when people say that people for a few things, just kind of in closing. Okay. These players earned their position. This wasn't given to them. Stop it. This wasn't given to them. They earned it. Their literal blood, sweat, and tears, they earned this from Pop Warner to Little League to high school to college to JUCO, wherever their path led them. They put the work in. What's going on, Crazy Ace? They put the work in. So whatever team
we're closing up.
Picked them, they're not. It's not. Oh, they gave them their shot. They should be thankful. No, you earned your way here. The people who hired us for whatever positions we have in life. I'm not lucky I got the position I have. I earned the position I had.
Fair enough. Yeah, for sure. Your mic went out. I'm not sure if it got unplugged or something.
This position.
You earn the majority of what you do in life, regardless of who you know. I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, we got you. We got you now.
Hey, I'm always gonna say I'm pro player all day, every day. Oh man, this spot. Where you at now? You still with Thailand?
He's in South Korea. He's in South Korea.
South Korea. Oh man. Oh shit. 5 o'clock. Oh hell. Yeah. The next day, or like today?
Yes. No, the next day.
Today, Monday.
Yes, they're on Tuesday.
Holy shit.
It's Tuesday.
Holy fucking hell, bro.
He's in the future.
Right. Who's the bear sign? You gotta give us news. Who's the bear sign tomorrow?
Hey, but Chef, real quick, so we could, before we closing off real quick, I just want to say everything you said is right about earning it, and it's a dream come true for these players. They live for this moment. That's saying that to the guy or the people that made the prank calls to these players there, saying that they were drafted and pretending to be the organization.
Come on, man.
Hey, look,
come on,
this is bigger than this is bigger than Shedeur Sanders, because every year it happens to somebody. It's a bigger spotlight because of the name. Shedeur Sanders is a profiled name. But it happens every year, whether it's a third round pick, bro. I can't illustrate how these players just sit by their phone waiting, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's not a game. This is their livelihoods.
Yeah.
You know, waiting for, even if you're not a draft pick, being a UDFA, like teams trying to call you and your agent for the opportunity to make a team. This is what you do this for. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have other, family, friends, blah, 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 but like this is the crescendo of all the work you put in your youth to be this point, just to be at a position athletically to where you could be in a career that will end before you're 40. Just think about that. I always say this. It's the only career, pro sport, that your prime is between 21 and like 28. Because once you're 30, holy hell, it's like, oh my God, you're 70 years old. You might as well get your fucking AARP card right now. Players are out of the league before they're 40. The NFL average career is 3.4 years. Yeah. I'm 40. That means when I left college at age 21, and God forbid if I ever had a chance to be in an NFL camp, that means statistically by age 25 I would have had all the work I put in from 10 years old until I got to college and played college ball. That means all that work I put in, I'm done before I'm 27.
Yeah.
We take for granted. Oh, he could be a 10-year pro, bro. Please. That's hard. That's hard.
Not only mentally, but the body to keep up with all that punishment and stuff. So
look,
but
pro NFL players have the shortest life expectancy outside of like contact sport boxers and UFC fighters. But on a happy note, look, congratulations to all the new Bears. Bear down. Hope all the guys take the best of their opportunity. Hope their body holds up. All
Good
season.
sport. You're a good sport. You're a good sport.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the only thing. But I'm optimistic, man.
Right.
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch all the YouTube videos from different outlets to see what they think. I'm gonna have my opinion because we're allowed to, but I'm gonna respect the people. Um, I have no love lost for guys who didn't make it. I wanted Bayless Jones to be a guy that could stay on the team and be useful. I wanted every draft pick to do that. I mean, except for um, except for that quarterback from UNC we drafted.
The quarterback, Trubisky.
Yeah, I was never a Trubisky guy. I can
Neither was
never.
I.
Now I would, but I will say I want him to prove me wrong. I always wanted him to prove me wrong. Although, see,
1,000%. Fuck yeah.
but I will say, since we talked about it earlier about being right, I was right. He's a career fucking backup. I was right.
Okay.
You all were wrong.
Pat yourself on the back for that one. You
As the
definitely.
Bears are still mediocre. Like
Trubisky
awful.
was definitely missing.
Vision.
Oh, I didn't want him to fail, but the fact that he
Not have
wasn't
that.
successful was, I told y'all. I told everybody. But I don't make no decisions, man.
So,
We should have traded up for Gimpy. He's transformative. He's going to make a Super Bowl team. Come on, bro. Go do the research. Saquon Barkley, 2024, is the first running back in 20-plus years to lead the league in rushing and win a Super Bowl. Come on, man.
We'll see when that happens again, if he can do that again next season. But other than that, like I said, any other final words or final thoughts for everybody here checking us out in the clubhouse before we sign off?
You want to say something? Since you're getting on my nerves right now, you want to say something? Yeah. Okay. That's his answer for everything.
He was very direct, too. No. Just like yourself.
You want some candy? Everyone? Oh, yeah. He almost said no. He said yes.
Yeah, he's like, is this a trick question? But anyways, guys, thank you for checking us out. We normally don't come on the afternoon. Mondays, we do Mondays, but usually it's in the evening. But like I said, I wanted to jump on the afternoon, give Coach Chef an opportunity to kind of give his thoughts on what the Bears have done this season and this draft since he's normally not able to jump on at night.
See, you're in the internet thing with a mean mug.
So, but anyways, guys, like I said, thank you for checking us out. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the like button if you haven't already done that. We really, really appreciate that. The more people in the clubhouse, the better it is. I'm sure Trish, Mama Gordon can definitely vouch for that. Like I said, we really do appreciate all the comments. We appreciate you checking us out as well. So please, to everyone else that's also checking us out, this is for everyone out there that's watching us.
Hey, come back.
Most definitely. Hey, we're going to be on more. We're going to be on more on Sunday as we can do this. I want to do more Sundays. I want to make this now. So I had some ideas that haven't come to fruition, but they're going to come to fruition before the beginning of the NFL season. If I got to go live on the group page on Facebook, I'm gonna have some stuff put together before the summer kicks off. Because I wasn't traveling. I might even have to travel with my setup, which is not a lot.
So there you heard it. Coach Chef is going to be cooking up some Bears news for us here on Sundays. So look out for it, guys. So all right, guys, take care. Be safe out there. Be good out there. But if you can't be good, well, damn it, at least be good at it.
You got to decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep.
Later, peace.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.